I'm mixing some green here. I want to mute down part of the area of the background of this landscape. I've used a piece of wax paper to divide it, just very loose, ripped wax paper. I don't want a straight edge here, but I want to try and have a dividing line. So I'm just trying to mix up a green that I like, kind of a greeny blue shade. I'm using some phthalo blue and some yellow. I'm not sure the color of yellow. So I'm going to try this, and with cold wax and oil you can build up many layers. So if you get it wrong the first time, you can let it set up a bit and put some more on. So you can do the same with acrylic, of course. Acrylic dries much faster, so if something doesn't work, it's relatively quick and easy to change it. But it's not that much difference with cold wax either. So I'm just using a catalyst wedge here to scrape the paint down. I'm not trying to get a perfect flat finish necessarily, but just getting it along that upper edge. So I have a little bit of a bump there. This gray catalyst wedge has a small edge cut on it, which I find quite handy for smaller paintings to be able to get into the spaces easier than a larger wedge. So this is a series I'm working on, and I have several on the go that I'll be showing you over time here, and I hope that you enjoy them. I'm trying to loosen up, paint more impressionistic, expressionistic landscapes that evoke an emotion. So I'm just coming back in here with some different colors into the foreground to make it more interesting. I put them on with a palette knife, but again, I'm moving them around a little bit with a scraper. I didn't use any photo reference for my landscape here. It's purely imaginative. I do love ponds and streams and estuaries. And I think a lot of this just comes from my experiences of being in nature and having that in my visual vocabulary. An interesting thing that you can try and experiment with is going out in nature and capturing an image in your mind, not on your camera, and coming back to your studio and then creating that from memory. You'll get a much more interesting image or painting than if you just copy directly from a photo. I'm scraping back here into the background where I had some built up texture with a stamp on it. So I used some Venetian plaster and used a wood block stamp with a spiral shape. Let that dry before starting to apply waxes. So now I'm scraping back. You wouldn't necessarily have to have this Venetian plaster texture in the background. You could just scrape back, but the paint has to be set up and dry. This is a pottery loop tool I'm using. It's very handy to clean up your edges as well as scrape back into your painting. If you are interested in getting started with cold wax and oil, I have a course available, a self-study course. I'll put the link below. It walks you through all the things you need to get started and make your first landscape painting through a photo reference, but in a looser style. So if that's something that you're interested in, step-by-step instruction. So come along and join me in the workshop, and you can also join my Facebook community to post your work and get feedback whether or not you take the workshop. So I'm just coming back in here. I'm adding a little Galcid gel to my paint. Now this speeds up the drying time, and it also creates a thinner paint, so kind of like a glaze. So I want to put something transparent down here on the bottom and just get a little bit of depth. So adding glazes is a great way to be able to see what's going on underneath so you don't lose your texture, but gives you more depth. So it's a great tool to definitely use for creating water. Here I'm using the Messermeister bowl scraper. It's got a wider blade on it than the Catalyst blade, so that works well too. I like to have a variety of tools because different tools give you different results, and they also keep you loose, I think, by changing up your tool, not getting too caught up on one tool all the time. So I'm just doing some blending. That is the beauty of the cold wax and oil, to be able to blend but don't over blend. So often a light touch is very useful. Here I'm just coming in with a little bit of lighter color. You want to be really mindful of your values, that you do have some lighter values and some darker values in your painting. I'm using a bamboo skewer here to scratch in to my underlayers. So this paint has set up already. You can use metal tools for this as well. They clean up easy. So anything that you have, it can be a fork, or go to the thrift store and scout around and see what you can find. If you're enjoying my content and would like to support me, I have a Buy Me a Coffee account. I'll leave the link below. Any donation is gratefully accepted. It all goes to help me buy supplies and also buy equipment to be able to make better videos. I should also mention that I will be opening a membership site in this fall, where there will be some monthly content and a library of videos. If that's something that you're interested in, I will leave the link below for the wait list. You can add your name to that so that you get the information when it's available. I'm scraping back here again with the loop tool. I had some marks with the Venetian plaster here, and I decided to reveal that. Give some interesting texture to the sky. Bringing a little bit more intense color into the foreground here. I'm using a straight palette knife with a blunt edge. So this is the thing you can also experiment with, is different palette knives, because they will do different things in your application. It's nice to have a variety of texture and flat areas for contrast, and also thick and thin paint is another contrast that is nice together. So I like to use my thicker paint near the front area of the painting. You don't want to use it everywhere, unless, of course, that's your style. Working flat is also hard to get a good perspective, so this is a 10 by 10 piece, and it will be available in my store on my website if it's something that you're interested in collecting. It's small, easy to place anywhere. It's painted on a birch cradle panel with a 1.5 inch edge. I prepare my panels with blue masking tape, and I also completely cover the back of the panel with paper. Just bringing a little bit of light color into this area, just at the horizon there, to give it a little bit of, like the sun is coming up over that mountain area. Smoothing it out with my Messermeister. You can buy the Messermeister tool on Amazon. It is meant as a kitchen bowl scraper, but it works great for cold wax and oil. Just mixing up a little bit of warm color here with the yellow and a touch of red. You can get some really subtle effects when you blend and put in little bits of color. So near the end of the painting, I definitely slow down and try and make really good informed decisions. This is a time to step back and look at your painting before you kind of push too far. It's easy to do. Just going to put a little bit of this on my finger and blend it in to bring some light area into the sky. Sometimes I use oil sticks as well at the end. Using a paper towel to remove some. Here's some close-up details of the painting. You can see all the marks, the various color combinations from layering, the depth achieved, the marks here in the Venetian plaster, little bits of the underpainting popping through in places, and some thick, juicy paint near the bottom of the painting here. Here is the finished painting. It will be available on my website, and it is called Placid Valley. Thanks for watching.